Let's get ready for Monday Mortgage Minute with your hosts, Tom McNamara and Bruce Woodburn.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bruce. How are we doing today?
Doing fantastic. We got a lot to cover, man. A lot of activity in the market last week. So I'd love to get right down to it because I know we both have crazy days and we have a lot of information to share with folks out there right now.
We do. And I want to remind everybody before we get started that both EXP and CrossCountry are nationwide companies, and we can help you anywhere in the country that you need help with real estate.
Absolutely. You want to buy, sell, refinance, you give either Tom or I a call. We'd be happy to help you no matter where you are in the United States of America. We're always there to help. Yeah. So, it was interesting. We had an interesting week. We had a couple of up days and a couple of down days in the bond market. But the news came out that inflation has not gone down. It's actually gone up. It rose by 3.4%. From this time last year. It was up 0.3% just in December alone. So what do you think that means for future Fed easing?
I think they're going to do what they don't want to do. They're going to have to raise a little bit.
Well, I don't think they're going to raise it. I don't think they are, Tom. I mean, they could because it's continuing to rise. But I don't think they're going to lower it. And everybody's been, I've heard there's going to be 4 drops in the Fed. Well, guess what? The numbers just came out and that ain't going to happen. So January 30th is the next Fed meeting. I think they're just going to stay steady and they're going to watch this thing ride out. But just like we said before the holidays, if people spend a bunch of money over the holidays, it tells the economists that things are doing really well. I can tell you just by going to the grocery store and talking to clients about their finances every day of the week that they're feeling the pain right now, but they're still spending money, which means that they're going to need to consolidate some debt. But here's what I think is going to happen with interest rates. I don't think you're going to see a bump up in rates. I think even though inflation is up, I think the bond market is starting to recover a little bit. As long as inflation doesn't get out of control, I think we're going to stay steady. And, we're locking loans in the mid 6s right now if you got good credit. So you can be in the mid 6s on a primary residence. And that's not a bad rate considering that 3-4 months ago we were pushing 8% and even before that slightly above 8%. So things are improving. And I don't know about you, Tom, but I've seen a lot of activity in the market just since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I brought this stat up before we got on, just looking at what's going on.
Let's put the glasses on for this one.
So we don't have December numbers yet, but for Florida realtors, right? But we do have through November of 2023, and this is just a snapshot. This is just Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford, and it's only single family homes. Okay, so we removed all the other stuff, but closed sales is up. We're up we're up 8.4%, so that's pretty significant.
Right.
Cash sales only rose a little bit. So if closed sales rose 8% and cash sales basically was flat, that tells me more people are financing, which tells me we're not in an iBuyer, cash buyer, heavy investor influenced market like we were in 2022, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just, yeah.
Well, that's a good point you make there. I was just doing a little bit of math based on these numbers, but you got a good point there. So there's less cash buyers. That means most of the cash buyers out there are these iBuyer companies, your OfferPad, Open Door. And I think people are starting to get keen to their antics and that they're not what they think they are. They're not the easiest thing to walk into and they're going to give you a fair price. They're going to give you underprice and people don't want to settle. Why do I want to give a haircut on my equity by $20,000, even $10,000? Is a buyer getting a mortgage worth $10,000? It is to me.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now. So during 2021 and 2022, I sold a lot of houses to the iBuyers. Like I was part of the transaction, helping people
Sure.
sell
Of
to,
course you were.
and they were overpaying like you wouldn't believe. I mean, they would pay $20,000-$30,000 more than retail, buy
Right.
the thing and then try to flip it. Right. Um, I've I've tried recently for a couple of people that needed to sell, that had, a house that needed some work and what have you. They are way low balling now. They're not coming in high. They're coming in low, charging big fees. They're not the deal they used to be.
Right.
But anyway, the other thing that I think is interesting out of here is, I mean, all last year, interest rates were crazy, right? I mean, like, oh my gosh, ridiculous. But sales prices went up.
So that's an interesting point, because just right here in Central Florida, you had a 3% increase. So I want to put this in perspective too. If you bought a home for $439,995, say 440, and you got an FHA loan and you put down 3.5%, 3.5% of that is what, like 15.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You would have made a 85% return on your investment in 1 year with your down payment based on this, because you made almost $14,000 in appreciation on there, $13,000, excuse me, in appreciation in 1 year. So you would have made 84.6% return on your investment.
Pretty good ROI, right?
That's a pretty good ROI, and you got to live somewhere anyway,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
you think about that. If you had a $13,000 gain on that property divided by 12 months, that's $1,083 a month that you're making in equity. Call it $1,100 a month that you're making in equity. So even people that say, "Oh, I'm renting right now for $2,500 and my payment on that house is going to be $3,800," subtract $1,000 from it, because that's how much you're making a month. Now that makes sense, right?
It does. And I think we were talking the other day about CoreLogic came out and said nationally, right, that houses are up 5%.
5.2% CoreLogic nationally.
Yeah. So our single family homes not quite as much. I'm interested. I'll try to figure it out maybe for next week. We'll see if we can look at the overall market and specifically maybe the condo market. I was under the impression the condo and townhouse market was not rising as fast, but we'll look into that and maybe give a report back on that.
Yeah, we sure will. Other thing is that 30% of the transactions, mortgage transactions today in the United States, are debt consolidation. Consolidation. That means people are taking their mortgage that they have a 3.5% rate on and refinancing it to say a 6.5% rate to reduce debt. Now, does that make sense? Well, think about this. If I got a 3.5% mortgage rate, and then I've got a 7.5% car loan, and then I've got a 20% credit cards, then let's look at combined what you're paying in mortgage rate.
Sure.
You're probably around 8.5 or 9%. So refinancing it, consolidating that debt. So I took a client the other day. They had about a $2,000 mortgage payment, but they had about $2,500 between car payments and credit cards. So altogether, they were paying $4,500. I refinanced the house at like a 6.75 rate, and the mortgage payment jumped up $1,000, which saved them $1,500 a month.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. That's a savings of $1,500 a month that they can live off and have a better life. Or they can apply that $1,500 toward their new mortgage, and their house was paid off in 11.6 years.
There you go.
And they had no debt, no car payment. Now, people might say, I know, but I don't want to finance my car over 30 years. No, don't finance it over 30 years. But now you have no debt. Now, if you keep building up debt and churning it, you're not going to help yourself. No. But I don't believe in having car payments. I don't believe in having credit card. I've never owned a new car in my entire life, ever. Never have I owned a new car.
I bought two, and I will tell you, I will never buy one again. But I have bought two.
And listen, I'm not saying don't buy one, but I do think when I look at people's debt and they got $700 a month car payments and they make $50,000 a year, that's insanity.
It is.
I would drive a beater. Matter of fact, I do drive a beater. I drive a 2010 Mountaineer. So I drive a beater out there. And you know what? I don't mind. But you know what I do? I got no debt. My house's payments are being accelerated and I'm going to retire debt free. Isn't that the way we want to be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Bruce, listen, man, it's time to go. I hope you have a fantastic week. And everybody out there, don't forget to reach out to us for any of your real estate needs nationwide. We've got you covered.
Yep, we sure do, man. Have a great week.
All right, Bruce, take care.